All right, welcome back everybody to another Real Talk, and may the Most High bless you. I pray all is well with everybody. My title now says Freemason Preachers. Freemason Preachers. I'm about to go deep in this video. Some of y'all been asking me a lot of questions about secret society preachers, Freemasonry preachers, and what's behind that. And I'm not going to sit here and talk about what I've heard. I'm going to talk about what I've saw, what I still see. I know preachers who are Freemasonry. I got kinfolks who are Masons. So I know a little something about it. And I'm going to tell you something. A whole lot of stuff I don't agree with. But I've been getting a lot of questions about the church. And why the church is being ran this way. Why the church is looking so much like the world. And I want to give you an understanding in this video about what else is going on when you talk about Freemason preachers, pastors we could say. Because this is something you're not going to hear at church. There are some preachers who will stand against this. Then there are some that's too afraid to say anything at all. And then there are some who don't play a part in none of it. And then it's just some that's all up in it. See, everybody is not a Freemasonry preacher. Everybody is not believing this and believing that. So we must understand that Satan has many church buildings up. But really, is it that much of a secret now? So your spiritual eyes got to be open on what I'm about to say here. So let's go a little bit deep, because I've been getting a lot of questions left and right about the so-called black church. And what I'm about to say you won't hear once again in church. A lot of people be like, well, JT, I don't know if you should even talk about that. Let me tell you something. Not saying nothing is what done got us in so much trouble. Being quiet is why everything is in the shape that it's in. And I'm not scared to stand on the truth. Like I say, I got kinfolks who are Masons. They watch me on camera, talk to me off camera, and they're not gonna like this video at all. You know, it's gonna cause a little conflict, and I don't care about all that either. See, I'm trying to help somebody understand what's really going on also when you start talking about why the world, once again, and the church look so much alike. So to y'all that was asking me why some preachers won't stand against this, why politics has crept so hard in the church, why the government is controlling this and controlling that, well, I'm going to let you know, because a lot of pastors are Freemason pastors. I didn't say all, but a lot of them are, especially when you talk about Southern Baptists. This ain't been going on just overnight. This been going on for years, y'all. When you have, like some would call them, secret society preachers who are Freemasons, then you understand also you have deacons who are Masons. One of my neighbors around the corner was Mason to the heart. I believe he done passed on now. But I didn't know he was Mason at first, and I said this in one of my older videos, how I was riding with him one day and he was speeding very hard, I'm talking about speeding. And a cop stopped him. But that cop was a Mason, and he noticed that my old buddy was a Mason. They threw a little symbol up, and he didn't even write him a ticket or nothing. My partner had his masonry ring on. And the cop said, "Have a nice day." Took off. And when I started looking at that, and then you have judges who are Freemasons. You got lawyers who are Freemasons. You got police officers. You got so on and so on and so on. You'll be shocked who's a Freemason, because it's kept such a secret. So I'm going to tie all this in together, y'all. And I hope I say something that can bring out some real truth, y'all. Now, anything, once again, that's secretive, it's quietly. You're going to see a lot of confusion in it. But the thing is, secret societies have secret rituals. Thing is, what kind of rituals do you see? What kind of sacrifices there? See, and I'm going to say something very important here, and I hope the black folks are really listening. When they start bringing out the truth about Trayvon Martin's daddy, how many people woke up after that? Because a statement was made. Now, I don't know how true it is or not, but it's something to look at. When they came forth and said that his daddy was a 33rd degree Mason, you saw something different with that Trayvon Martin case. But see, I'm not even going to get into that in this video. We'll do that later on, but I'm making the point because black people are so quick to retaliate, just like what's going on in Ferguson right now. You focusing on the wrong person. You keep trying to make this thing about black and white, and you really don't even know who you are and who your real enemy is. It's a whole lot behind Freemasons that most of us won't study and we won't try to find out the truth. So you have Masons all up in the pulpits now, and they in other leadership positions in the church. And you got, like I said a minute ago, you got pastors who won't say nothing at all about it. At all. And then you'll hear a lot of Masons say that they are not a religion. But when you really look at it, what do you see? Because the NWO, the New World Order, shows you a one-world religion. That's why all of this stuff, it don't matter what you call yourself. In the long run, one world religion. And what better way is there to mess up some folks than to use religion? Religion equals division, tradition of man. So when you look at this Freemason stuff, and when you have a Masonry preacher, then you starting to see why it's all about money. Now, it's a lot of people that's just stuck on money. We know this. And when you study on a 33rd degree Mason, come back and holler at me. Talk to me. Because what I'm saying in this video is over most people's head. And if you look at the teachings of a Mason, what they study and what they believe, do you really think it lines up with the Word of God? And then you got some call themselves Christian Masons. Some of y'all understand why I speak about Christianity so much and what's really going on behind it. And how it's looking like it's so destroyed. And see, when I talk about apostasy, ain't too many people want to hear that. So to y'all that asked me the question about the black church, think about that, what you're saying alone already, how divided we are. I go to a black church. What in the world is a black church? I go to a white church when Yahshua just had the church, the body of all believers. See what I'm saying? We so divided up. We divided up right there. I don't listen at white preachers. I listen at black preachers. I look at black preachers. If somebody's bringing the truth, what color, what does it matter what color they are? See, true believers don't matter what color you are. Now let's take this video a step further, because I had a good question about, this time of year I get a lot of questions about holidays, and every year I do a video to say something about holidays. But most Christians are involved in holidays. We already know this. So look at this for a moment. You have Masonry Christians, white and black, and other colors. But what a lot of people don't understand is that those Masonry Christians made a treaty with pagans who worship other gods. That's why you can't get holidays out the church now. You can't. And when you make a treaty with the devil, think about that for a moment. You got a lot of religions out here, false religions out here. And what they would do, they would gather around a strange altar, the altar of Freemasonry, and they would worship a god named the Great Architect of the Universe. That's what you see when you see the GAOTU. That's what that stands for. The Great Architect of the Universe. I know some of y'all probably don't even know what I'm talking about. But when you study, I'm not talking about Yahweh. I'm not talking about the Most High. I'm talking about the God that they serve. Google GAOTU. Google the Great Architect of the Universe. You'll see what I'm talking about. And when you think about, once again, in the church, when you have a Masonry pastor, Freemason pastor, then you have Masonry deacons. Then you have a Masonry trustee. Once again, I'm not talking about everybody in church. And the trustee is the one who really handles the money. But you never see really where, once again, money is going in a lot of churches. Once again, I'm not talking about everybody in churches like this. I have to make that point. But money is a huge issue in a lot of Baptist churches, for sure. Southern Baptist, Plain Baptist. I'm not going to get off into all the Baptists. And if you ever study on Prince Hall, yeah, Masonic Lodge member, do you know what that is? Do you know what that's all about? I'll let y'all answer that one. So what I'm saying is deeper than what most Christians want to believe. Because when you get to talking about Freemasonry tied in with the church buildings, a lot of people be like, what you talking about, man? Where did you get that from? I'm talking about what's real. That's why the NWO, the New World Order, is using the churches to destroy Christianity. Think about it. And then every time you look around, the Bible is being thrown to the side. But more and more sin is being legalized. Because with mess and confusion, somebody always raise up the louder and go higher. The NWO is using the church to spread lies. So these Masonry preachers are all behind this. So when you tie in and go to the head of it, you see Satan. You see the Antichrist. You see the ones who work for Satan. Christ had his disciples, the apostles, prophets. In the Old Testament, Satan got his team. And let me tell you something. His house is in order. He ain't slipping like the churches are slipping right now. So the Bible speaks of apostasy. Let me ask you something. You ever wonder why so many preachers won't never come from the book of Jude or Judd, however you want to pronounce it? You don't hear too many preachers come from that book. Why do you think they dodged that book? Because it talks about the end of the church age. When you see these money-hungry preachers, most of them you see, a lot of them are Freemasons. You ever wonder why they don't care about the needs of the church? Let me tell you something. When you start putting a higher value on your lifestyle than your spiritual walk and teaching the truth, your worship ain't that important, but you place a high value on your lifestyle than your walk for Christ, something wrong with you. Why would you want to follow behind somebody like that? I'm just trying to give you something else to think about and look out for, y'all. I don't expect too many people to believe half of what I'm saying. Just something to think about. You know what? I said something the other day in my video about Southern Baptists. I don't think too many people caught it. I told y'all in the other video about why people don't really know why they call themselves Baptists. And then I made a statement about Southern Baptists. and how they have Masons in their church. Saw them in the pulpit. Even when you go back dated to 1992, the annual conventions, they stated that it was about 1.3 million Masons who was members of the Southern Baptist churches. And then it was estimated about 1.4% of the Southern Baptist pastors were Masonry pastors. Go Google it. Who do you think wanted and have gotten control over America's big time money system? Do you really think for 1 minute that President Obama run this world? If you do, I feel sorry for you. The president don't run this world. The ones with the money run this world. And you know what? I'm making this statement about America's money system, and then you think about the Federal Reserve System. This was accomplished by founding the Federal Reserve System. So once again, when you see these type of preachers out here about money, 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 you see what I'm talking about. I'm going to go even a little further. And I want somebody to really answer this. I got to do like you people, John. Hit that little laugh. And look off. Tell me this, somebody. Why do you think, or what do you think, better words, let me say, the NAACP is really all about? Just ask the question. Now let me ask you another question. Is Freemasonry Jewish? I can't wait to see these answers. I see people riding around all the time who call themselves Masons, and you know why? It's on their hat, it's on their shirt, they have the clothes, it's on their license plate on their car, they have the ring on their finger, they talk about it all the time. So you see out in the open. But my question again is on that is, are those real ones? Or do the real Masons don't show out with all that? So I'm talking to the ones who know something about Masonry, Freemasons. Now, let me say something else on your mind. Put something else on your mind. I'm finna mess with a lot of churches when I say this. Why do you think 501c3 was really put in place? When me and Sister Kathy, we talked about this a while back. Shout out to you, sister. Once in so many ways, when you get hooked up with 501c3, you are controlled by the state. You're not ran by the Most High. So therefore, you're not going to preach too much of the truth, because you done gave yourself over to the state government, I like to say. Now, to answer your question again, sisters and brothers, that's why a lot of preachers won't stand on what's right, because they are controlled by the state, by the government. They 501c3, they can't talk about much. They might have a Freemasonry pastor, they're not going to stand on what's real. Do y'all see what I'm talking about now? I'm going to go a step further. When Katrina hit, and you start looking at FEMA, a lot of y'all probably might not know this. Don't you know FEMA had in so many ways, in words, that FEMA had started telling pastors what to preach. They had programs set up where they was training pastors and coaching them on what to say, what to preach about, what not to preach about. FEMA. See, this is deep what I'm saying, y'all. Now, to my sisters, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings when I say this, but the majority of black women are on Section 8, WIC, all kind of government assistance. And the government loves that because Now they continue to control you, just like they can control the church, because they the ones who are helping you. And once you rely on a system, come on, PP Jones, once you rely on that system so long, how can you rely on the Most High system when the government is the one making the way for you? And then you look at how the government do you. The food stamps, the WIC, the Section 8 houses. Once again, I'm not saying it to talk down on you. I love you. But I'm giving you something to think about. Because most of y'all call that a blessing and you love it and you live off of it, and it's like, I ain't got nothing to worry about because the government. But what you gonna do when the government shut down on you? And then you got these preachers that use Romans 13 and want to mislead folks to say that everybody that's a Christian, you know, must obey the government, even if the government ain't right. Even if your leaders ain't right, you got to stick with them. No, that ain't what the Bible say. The Bible do tell us to obey the laws of the land, but the Bible say if it goes against the Bible, the word, the teachings, you go against them leaders. Pray for them, but you don't follow along with them. See, Daniel went against the king's order. The Hebrew boys, see, it's so much to say in this video. This is why it's time to stand. We about to really get a great look on who's really been playing church and who really are the church, y'all. It's deep. But there's so many people moving up the ladder behind wickedness. So, with all this shouting, dancing, prophesizing, speaking in tongues, laying hands, taking up money, selling hope, prophesying, building funds, what does all that have to do? I know what it has to do with kingdom building, but what I'm saying is this abuse, what does it have to do with getting into heaven? When Freemasonry is on the scene, the church is tolerating the teaching of a false gospel. You rarely see preachers, you don't see too many that's going to stand against what I'm talking about in this video. You know why? Because they would lose their members. Paycheck would get cut. I remember one of my first sermons I spoke at this church, and my sermon was called "Look Past the Building and Get Your House in Order." And I hit on so many sins in that sermon. They told me they never wanted me to come back, ever. And they never invited me back because I stepped on toes. I talked about what their pastor wouldn't talk about. And people will run you out because you're speaking truth. I don't even know if this video is going to get through because of what I'm saying. I pray it does. Been having a hard time uploading lately. So when you see these pastors who sit back and shut up, don't want to say nothing, they would rather compromise than fight the good fight. They choose to let men and women, our brothers and sisters, they don't care. They rather you go to hell than risk being forced from the pulpit. What kind of pastor is that? What kind of pastor is that? So y'all, let me say this as I close. Because, excuse me, Freemasons are very well known for how generous they give. Charity. But I say this as I end this video. Just because somebody is giving a charity all the time don't mean they doing the right thing. Because you can do all of that with the wrong heart. So I hope I've said something that could open our eyes a little more, and you wonder why things happen like they happen in some of these churches, because you actually have Freemasonry pastors in these churches. Not all, though. With that being said, that's my time. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful, blessed day. Peace out.